Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Andrei and I do weekly tech videos about all sorts of gadgets, phones, tablets, and everything that's tech related. If you'd be interested in that, make sure to click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos. In January, I purchased a MacBook Pro with the new M1 chip inside with the intent of running the entire channel off of it. I've done exactly that, but at the time, since I was kind of attached to my internal body organs and I didn't want to end up having to sell any of them, I had to go with the base spec model, which only comes with 256 gigabytes of storage. My plan was that I'd use the base Mac for a couple of months, then at a later date I'd purchase an external SSD and basically use that as an extension of the onboard memory of the Mac. Well, now we're at a later date and I ended up actually purchasing one. And I think it's one of the absolute best accessories you need for your own Mac, and I'll try to show you why in this video. Now a little bit more about the pricing. Apple released the M1s to basically industry-wide acclaim. They've been getting rave reviews, and for good reason. I've reviewed my own M1 here on the channel and I think it's a great machine. Apple just couldn't help themselves. They just couldn't not be greedy for once. There, I said it, they were greedy. The base models are excellent in terms of value, but the moment you start looking at expanding the onboard storage, things get rather dicey. Why do I think Apple is greedy on this? Well, basically, if you look at the website, in order to get the 512 gigabyte model for either the Air or the Pro or the Mini, you have to pay an extra $200. You want a terabyte? That's $400. Thank you very much. 2 terabytes, you said? $800. Now, if you check around and look for purchasing an SSD for your PC or your Windows laptop or something else, the prices are much more reasonable. You won't find yourself needing to spend more than like a couple $100. And normally, you would be perfectly fine purchasing an SSD and just replacing the one inside. But there's a catch here. Because all of the components in the M1 Max are soldered onto the chip itself, this means you cannot swap out the SSD. So your other option is basically purchasing an external SSD to complement the one that you already have in the Mac. And this is the drive that I ended up purchasing. This is an ADATA, 1 gigabyte in storage size. It's about $144 if I recall correctly. It's a great SSD and I purchased it simply because I've had ADATA SSDs in the past. I've used thumb drives from them in the past and they've been generally very, very reliable. There's also good options from Samsung. You have the Samsung T5 and the pricier and faster Samsung T7. We're gonna see in a minute just how fast this particular model is, but I want to say from the get-go that I've been totally happy with it. I mean, I do 4K video editing and I'm editing off of this drive. Now obviously I've been using this before. I repackaged it poorly as you can see. I just wanted to show you guys what you can find in the package. So let's open it up. And basically this is what you get. Some quick start guide, documentation, 2 dongles, one that you can use with the Mac, USB-C to USB-C. This one you can use straight up with the Mac, and you also get a USB-C to USB-A. And this is the drive itself. It's actually really small and really, really light. It has a connector here, an LED that will show you if it's working or not. And that's pretty much it. What I can tell you is that it gets a little bit warm in usage, but not excessively so. So it's pretty okay. There is a downside here, of course. The size of the dongle added to the SSD itself, it will basically hang on to the side of the Mac. It may be a little bit annoying. So let's hook this up to the Mac and see how that goes. As you can see, I have the SSD here. I've already been using it quite a bit. Important to note here is that it's exFAT format. Basically, the drive out of the box comes in NTFS file format, which is a file format that's used by Windows. It will work on the Mac. The problem is the disk will be in read-only, so you won't be able to write any sort of data to it. You can solve that really, really quickly if you use disk utility and you just click here, erase. You simply rename it and you choose the new format. Choose exFAT and this will work also with your Windows machine if you have one. Now, as I've said before, the external SSD isn't as fast as the internal one. So now we're gonna see how fast the internal SSD of the Mac is. We're gonna start a speed test here and we're gonna see that the speeds are absolutely fantastic. 2000 plus megabytes per second.
So basically this is a very, very, very fast drive. Now let's check our external drive and let's see how fast that is. Now the speeds are a bit slower than the internal SSD, and this is to be expected. I mean, this is an external drive, so it's plenty fast enough. I think the Samsung T7 might be a little bit faster here, but that's also a little bit of a pricier option. Now, let's see a short real-world test. I've imported from the SSD into iMovie my video about the OnePlus 9, the impressions video I did a few days back. As you can see, this is a rather large file, 35.3 gigabytes. Here I am in iMovie and I can scrub without any sort of issue. This is very, very, very fast. There's no dropped frames anywhere. This is a 4K footage. So I have absolutely no problems in editing off of this drive, and it's actually really, really fast and without a glitch. Now, the obvious downside for this kind of setup is the fact that obviously the SSD will hang off to the side of your MacBook when you're using it. I don't think that bothers me enough to warrant me spending another $800 on Apple's internal storage, or like 400 in this case. This has been less than half the price if I would have gone for the internal storage upgrade that Apple offers. I think they were really, really greedy on this one. There's really no justification. I mean, if you go and check out Amazon, if you look at any sort of external SSDs or internal SSDs for that matter that you can put into your PCs, the prices are much, much lower than what Apple is offering. And again, I don't think it's worth paying that kind of money to upgrade the storage. You can pay the extra $200 that Apple wants for the 8 gigs of RAM. Those are going to be more important towards future-proofing the device. This kind of product makes even more sense if you have, for instance, a Mac Mini, which is designed to be a desktop machine, which won't move, won't be as mobile around like a laptop. In that case, this is basically pretty much a no-brainer. I agree that the speeds that we're seeing are lower than those of the internal SSD, but I don't think they're that much lower to basically impact you in your day-to-day workflow. As we've seen, there's only a couple of file types that the SSD won't be able to handle as well as the internal one. And in that case, yeah, sure, splurge. Either get a faster external SSD, but if your workflow requires you to have a very, very, very fast internal SSD, then yeah, Apple offers that. But if the extreme speeds of the internal SSD aren't paramount to you, then there's always cheaper alternatives that you need to take into account. With that being said, I thank you for watching and I will see you next time.